Hi, I'm Mo, and I'm the master of the muffin.
And I'm TJ, and I really have to go to the bathroom.
Wait till commercial break, damn it! You're costing me money.
Easy for you to say you just went before the show started.
And this is...
It's still new to us, damn it.
Welcome to It's Still New to Us, damn it. I'm Mo, he's TJ, as we just said, and we are here to watch every movie ever made to be the smartest people in the room.
Bow before us.
Yes, bow. Like in Wayne's World. Exactly like that.
You're not worthy.
Yeah, you're not.
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Damn it, Jeremy. Anyway, we are here to discuss movies, and this week's movie is Magnolia. Released in 1999, written and directed by P.T. Anderson.
Yeah, it was
Anderson.
a P.T. Anderson picture.
You think he changed that because of the other Anderson guy?
Oh, he's got to hate Paul
Yeah.
W.S. Anderson.
He's got to hate him.
The Resident Evil guy. How many times do you think he gets mistaken for him?
Probably all the time.
Probably, yeah. I loved Mortal Kombat.
It's not me. The star is Jeremy Blackman. I believe he played the child. He was in a movie called Double Down and Crown Heights, which is a TV movie. Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, and Cocktail.
Ooh.
Yes. Linda Dillon, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Captain America 1990.
Yeah, that's right.
At least he played the mother.
Memories of you, girl.
The movie's so boring.
It's fucking bad.
It's just boring.
Did that review ever make it?
No, it didn't make it. No, because I think we were going to watch
oh, God.
Memento, but we could never just get a time to do it.
Yeah, that was probably it. Oh,
yeah.
We watched that movie for nothing.
We watched that movie like 4 times, audience. I've watched Captain America 1990 more than I've seen the Captain America of today.
Oh, fucking awful.
Yeah. Philip Baker Hall, Secret Honor, and Sour Grapes.
And Seinfeld.
He was the library detective.
Detective Bookman.
Detective Bookman. Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Happiness, Along Came Polly, Ricky Jay, House of Games, and Tomorrow Never Dies. William H. Macy, The Cooler, and Mr. Harlem's Opus. Alfred Molina, Frida, and Species. Michael Murphy, Tanner 88, and Shocker. John C. Reilly, Hard 8, and Sing, the animated musical.
Yeah. Jason
Robards, All the President's Men, and Dream a Little Dream. Laura Walters, Cabin Boy, and The Butterfly Effect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was everybody who was in it.
Frankly, that's a huge cast. So.
I know, I just went down Wikipedia, and I was just like, I have to do all these names.
Yeah, right.
Even though I probably could have cut out, like, 2 of them, but I was like, no what? Wikipedia says
and you left out Julianne Moore.
I did! Julianne Moore, oh my god.
Of Boogie Nights and Kingsman 2, the Golden Circle thing.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Continue the pattern.
But that's okay,
Yeah.
So we are talking about Magnolia. There will be major spoilers about Magnolia.
Yeah. Man, I suggest you watch this movie, because it is kind of like an event. It's just...
Yeah, it's an experience.
Both ways, like an event in a movie, just watching it, and event, just... I don't know, I can't really explain it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to explain how good this movie is. Which is kind of like a criticism of this podcast. We just review good movies and we say nothing bad about them.
That's going to change.
That's going to change.
Worry. This was not thought out when we chose our last.
Even though I do have my thoughts about this movie. I'm not like, good. I do, yeah, but we'll get
there's
into
certainly some things that I would change, or not change, but, it's an experience.
I don't know. I think, like, how a movie's made, like, is this how you just make a good movie? You just have a bunch of interesting characters and then something big happens in the final act and that's just a great movie? Because I feel like a lot of great directors, like, do that. Like, I know P.T. Anderson is, like, directly... like influenced by Robert Altman, because that's basically a lot of Robert Altman movies. Just basically you meet characters and then something big happens and that's it. But like, you can say that about any movie, can't you? You meet interesting characters, something happens, and then that's it. But of course, that's the flow of stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 So maybe I'm just overthinking this. But...
Well, I think, and we'll get into it too, but I think that the whole story is to be juxtaposed with that beginning narration, where it's just, again, it's like the other two we watched. It's a slice of life in a certain time period, I suppose.
Yeah.
It really is about coincidences or lack thereof. Mm-hmm. Ripple effects. The butterfly effect, which I'm sure is why Melora Walters was cast.
Yes.
Probably not. But yeah, we got a lot of thoughts about this movie.
Yeah. Okay, so I first heard of this film maybe back in 11th grade. Mm-hmm. It spoiled it for me. My teacher spoiled it for me.
Oh, don't spoil it yet.
Don't spoil it yet? Okay. We'll get to it. So I was like, I was waiting for the moment to happen.
What a son of a bitch.
Well, I thought, like 11th grade, I thought I'm never going to watch this movie. Because I was like, why would I watch Magnolia? Like, for no reason. Because this podcast came up and I chose Magnolia, so that's why I watched it. So I know what happens, and watching it, it is an experience. You just go through these people's lives, and this whole movie, like you can tell from like the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's about loneliness. It's about the loneliness of these people, how they deal with it in different ways. Tom Cruise, loneliness of his father leaving him. And,
Hold on, I want to get to a synopsis first.
Okay, get to the synopsis. That's true.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Before we start mentioning specific characters, this movie is a whirlwind. It is absolutely a whirlwind, and I will say that my only knowledge of the movie, I knew nothing about it, other than that Kevin Smith didn't like it and wrote a negative review of it, and then later saw Paul Thomas Anderson in a doctor's office when he was getting a physical done for one of his movies. And Paul Thomas Anderson came up behind him and just said, "Hello, Kevin, how are you?" And he was like the most polite guy. And Kevin Smith said, I felt like such a shithead after that because this guy, my back was turned to him. He could have hit me with a steel chair for ragging on his movie.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew is that Kevin Smith didn't like it. I hadn't even looked on Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. I had no idea what the general consensus of this movie was. But yeah, before we dive deeper, we will get into a synopsis here. Magnolia is a large genus of about 210 to 340 flowering plant species of the subfamily wrong notes. Synopsis. On an unusually rainy day in the San Fernando Valley, a handful of seemingly unrelated characters find their lives flipped upside down. Among them are a dying Hollywood producer, his trophy wife, his nurse, a former child prodigy, a drug addict, a game show host, a humble police officer, and the world's most upfront incel. The events of their days, their highs and lows, seem to center around the airing of an episode, or are framed rather, around the airing of an episode of the long-running game show called What Do Kids Know? As tensions flare and more about these characters' lives and motivations is uncovered, Magnolia crescendos with a memorable and unforeseeable climax that will leave viewers aghast. In the end, not a lot of hilarity ensues, but that's really not a bad thing here.
Good synopsis, TJ. Love it.
You like that?
Yeah. Can I learn more about the flower, though? Can that be for our next podcast?
I will email you I've done extensive research on the Magnolia genus.
That's good.
I will email you the Wikipedia link.
Okay, that's good.
Excellent. So, this was a over 3 hour movie.
Yes. And I would say it did feel like a 3 hour movie, but I didn't care because you just watch it.
Me neither.
It's not like the Batman. Like the Batman's 3 hours long, and I was just waiting. Like this is the ending. Nope. This is the ending. Nope. This is the ending. Nope. This is the ending? Yes. And then it's just like, okay, finally. Like, at least, like, in that movie, they increased the stakes each time to do it, so that's why I kept you interested. This one doesn't need to increase the stakes. The stakes are always just increased every second. Like, it's like a standoff with no guns. That's how I felt like watching this movie.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, it does feel like the 3 hours, but for the most part, the 3 hours, I mean, it really does justify itself. You might be able to cut 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, because Paul Thomas Anderson does go into that a little bit. He's just like, I could have cut this movie like a whole lot more. It's like way too
No,
long,
absolutely not. And there were, while watching the movie, it really is such an experience.
Yeah.
And it's just like the other two PTA movies we watched here. And I don't know how to explain the feeling I got while watching them, but it was almost like, am I enjoying this?
Yeah.
Per se? And I'm not entirely sure if I'm enjoying it, but I am so hooked on what is going on.
Yeah.
And that by the end of the movie, I can't stop thinking about it. I told my girlfriend, I watched this Wednesday night while she had class. It was perfect. So I was like, I got to watch this 3 hour movie. You know, it was almost like a chore. Not a chore, but, you know, I was like, I got to set aside
we were going to watch it together,
evening.
But you said this movie's 3 hours long. But
we have different work schedules now, so it's a little tougher to do that. And I was just like, I got to watch this 3 hour movie. You know, I'm going to be in bed late. You know, I'm going to go not be able to go to bed on time, whatever. I'm an old man. I finished the movie probably at just before 12 o'clock. I couldn't fall asleep till like 1. I wasn't even mad about it. All three of these movies, they've been experiences. They've been ones that make you think. They challenge your ideas of what traditional narrative is. And by the end of it, you just can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, before I watched these movies, I hated movies like this. I hated movies with basically no plot. It was basically just characters just talking to each other and stuff like that. Like, I hated that because I need a story. But after watching these movies, I realized that you don't really need a story. You just need experiences, emotions, and characters who you love, hate, or don't even like, or do like, and you just go along. And then, like I was talking about in the beginning, like a big moment that brings them like all together, and like that's all you need. Which I don't know is a good thing or a bad thing, because then I can just make a movie that are interesting characters and have, well, even because Paul Thomas Anderson is kind of doing that in this film, because the big moment you just don't expect it. Like in I I watched Nashville. I gotta watch it again because I didn't really do a great job watching it. I was making ramen while doing it.
That's the Rob Altman or the
Robert Altman film. That's his like magnum opus, and it's like all these characters are interesting. They're funny. They all have their own troubles and everything. At the very end of the movies, I got spoilers alerts, but that movie's over 50 years old now. A girl was shot, and so to bring everybody together, everybody just starts singing a song, and that's how the movie ends.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so he definitely got that.
He definitely got that from him. So I'm just wondering, is that all you need?
Yeah,
to make
I think
these
that's
movies?
absolutely what he's showing. And the thing to me is this movie borders on being overly melodramatic and even pretentious at times, but it never crosses that.
Sure.
When you think of the traditional narrative, like you said, there's this big spot at the end that we will get into that you think is going to bring all the characters together, but it doesn't. It brings a handful of them together in little pockets. It brings Claudia and her mother together. It brings Donnie and Officer Jim together.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bring them all. This was like one of my least favorite movies, Crash. I hate Crash. I think Crash is such a heavy-handed, Oscar baity movie. It's just insufferable to me. I was worried this would feel like that or something. But no, it's not some grandstanding, soapboxy, moral movie. It's just a slice of these characters' lives, and they seem unrelated, right?
Yeah.
And now they all have one thing in common, for the most part. They've all got past traumas they got to overcome.
And I was saying, like, loneliness. They're all lonely in their own way. The kid, Jeremy Blackman, who plays the child in this, he's lonely because his father doesn't really love him that much.
His father sees him as a meal ticket.
So he doesn't have a father
And
figure.
even at school, he's put in the library by himself throughout the school day because he doesn't need to be in the classroom.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is lonely because he lost his father and his mother, so he has no family. Mm-hmm. So he created this macho character to basically maybe block out those feelings.
Sure, absolutely.
And basically made a brand out of it.
Yep.
Melinda Dillon's lonely because her husband's dying and she lost her daughter because...
unknown reasons to her. They were unknown reasons to her.
Unknown reasons until recently. Philip Baker's dying, so that's why he's getting lonely. And also he lost, like, the same reasons why Melinda's character is. Philip Seymour Hoffman's lonely because, I guess, maybe, I don't know, because
he's given the least... he's almost like the... not the Greek chorus. What am I looking for? He's like kind of a thematic vehicle in this. I don't know how best to put it.
He's basically helping, let's see, what's his name? Jason Robards, I believe, who played the man who was dying. Was that him? Or was that...
Earl.
Yes. Yes. Jason Robards played Earl, I believe.
Correct? Okay, that sounds about right, yeah.
So he's basically there to help Earl find Tom Cruise, and that's his role. But Jason Robards is lonely because he gave up everything, and he basically left his son go, and they haven't seen him in 23 years.
Yes, and that's one thing I noticed with all these characters. You do have that loss. You do have that that sense of past trauma that we're not fully, eventually we find out what they are for the most part. But there are two characters in particular. And they're the older characters who are dying. Both of them have cancer. It's Jimmy Gator, the game show host, played by Philip Baker Hall, and Earl Partridge, the former Hollywood producer, who is very, very quickly dying of cancer himself. And what the movie does, and you know it's coming, and you still know better than to sympathize with these characters because it seems too obvious. You're shown early hints when Jimmy Gator, the game show host, goes to visit his daughter Claudia, and she's screaming at her, this blood-curdling scream, "Get the fuck out of my house!" But you still somewhat sympathize with these dying old men.
I'd say so.
And then PTA just whacks you right in the back with a steel chair.
Yeah.
These characters are the reasons for several of the other characters suffering and their trauma. Earl Partridge, the old Hollywood producer, we find out that he is Frank T.J. Maxey. That was Frank T.J. Mackey, Tom Cruise's character. His father, long estranged, who left Frank to take care of his dying mother.
Yeah, and basically cheated on her all the time.
Cheated on her
constantly. He was being an asshole the whole time. Like, I would say I love you every time, but I would just constantly cheat.
Yep. Yeah. And then Philip Baker Hall's Jimmy Gator, when he finally tells his wife knows, and a few people know that he's got cancer, and he's finally telling her late in the movie, I apologize, I did cheat on you. And that's when something dawns on her, and she asks, why doesn't our daughter talk to us? Why does she hate you? Mm-hmm. And when you find out, it's just gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely gut-wrenching. And Yeah. Your thoughts? I've gone on quite a bit
I don't know,
here.
like, you're not supposed. I don't think you're supposed to cheer for these characters or like root for the characters. You're just supposed to just feel these characters. These characters are just supposed to be like you're connecting because in some way each one of them has something that we have inside of us. Like either whether it be like the worst things that happen or like the best thing that's happened to us.
Sure.
Because I feel like this is like what happens mostly when grief. Like Julianne Moore's character. Like how do you deal with grief? She tries to kill herself. That could happen. You meet other people and you try to help them. That's what happens with Dennis Donnie Baker.
Yes.
That's his name? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
With John C. Reilly's character and William H. Macy's character. And sometimes we connect with people you loved and you just lost contact with, which happened with both Tom Cruise's character and Linda Dillon's character and Molly Walters, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I can't say her name. Yeah.
Melora
Walters. Melora Walters, yes. So
Correct.
that's what happened. So it's just like different ways to deal with it. And
Sure.
you can relate to one or you can relate to the other. Like,
Right.
Or sometimes you just die. That's what happens too.
Well, and that's another common theme among these PTA movies that we've watched. He never asks you to cheer for a character or to dislike a character or to relate with a character. You just do it instinctually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's pretty obvious that you're going to hate someone who ran out on his dying wife or someone who molested his daughter. You're going to hate them, and that's totally understandable. But in Licorice Pizza, you've got characters in a very questionable relationship. They should not be in that relationship. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, you still find them endearing, right?
Yeah.
In Boogie Nights, you see these characters hit their absolute low. You see Amber...
people who, like, our parents tell us do not interact with these people. These people are garbage. Like,
right.
Should not. But yet we still, because we never really see their side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
We never see the black sheep of the family story or
right.
something like that. We only see what people tell us to see, like the drug dealers or the pornographers or the bad people, and you don't really see how it affects them. Yeah, they do coke, and yeah, they do make porn and stuff like that, and they do bad things. But these are real people still. These are still people who feel, they love, they hate, they cry, they laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're no different than us at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, powerful stuff here. I would say, you want to talk about Officer Jim and or Donnie here?
Yeah, should we just break this down like character by character mostly?
Let's do
it. Okay, so let's start with I guess Tom Cruise. Let's start with the most emotional.
Aha.
This is probably I haven't seen a lot of Tom Cruise performances, but this is probably the best I've ever seen him in a movie.
Same, hands down.
Yeah. I didn't know he could do this. I think Tom Cruise made this image of himself. I'm Tom Cruise. I'm a badass. Like, I'll just do badass things and act crazy sometimes.
Which is admirable or impressive from a 5'9" guy or whatever.
True, yeah.
He's a little guy.
Yeah, but he basically like tore that down and became like I guess the worst version of himself. Like a guy who's just like so up his own ass that he creates this persona and how to.
It's a mask.
It's a mask, yeah. And here's my favorite character in the whole thing because he's so insane. It's great. He's the master of the muffin, as I said in the beginning. On a poster of his Seduce and Destroy, it is no pussy has 9 lives.
Yeah, I saw that.
No pussy has 9 lives. That's what it says.
It is funny.
And you think about today how like alpha males and stuff like that. Like PTA was way ahead of this shit. He knew like there was this market about these guys who are lonely and who think that you have to maneuver around women to get to have them sex with you.
He predicted the incel movement 20 years before it actually really got a name.
Yeah, that's kind of true too.
Absolutely, that's what this is.
Yeah, but even when he does a lot of stuff, there's like a heartbreak to the character.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which you can say like, yeah, that's fine, but he's still a piece of shit. But then also you could relate to him too, because you can tell like this is not who he's probably not. He wasn't actually like this like at any before, and maybe something happened that changed him. And then you find out like he had no father, he left him, had no mother, he had to be taken care of by his neighbor, and then I guess I don't know what happened. Maybe just one day he decided I'm just going to reinvent myself, and he did.
That's what we're left to assume, yeah. But I'm with you. I never have respected Tom Cruise as an actor so much as I have here. You always think of him in these blockbuster movies. Some are good, some are most are bad.
You got The Mummy.
The Mummy, exactly. I knew we'd mention that.
Then you got like the movies in the 80s he was in. That was like Top Gun and stuff like that.
Cocktail,
yeah.
But no, this was an acting tour de force by him. When he sits down for the interview, I'm thinking, okay, now we're gonna see. Okay, he's gonna tell this woman reporter, behind the scenes, it's just an act. I didn't just make money off of these goofballs. But no, that's what he presents himself to actually believe is that men have that right to take any woman that they want to be with. But as the interview progresses and she calls him out on his lies about, his relationship with his parents, you just see all that swagger and all that confidence just melt off of his face. And the little boy that sat with his dying mother emerges. He throws a tantrum and eventually walks out. And that is when you see this is just a mask the whole time for his past trauma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was incredible.
Yeah.
All right, next. There's a lot of these fucking characters.
Yeah, that's true. Let's do, I guess we do the kid, Jeremy Blackman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
He did great for a child performance. He didn't really do much after this, maybe because the industry didn't really care or something like that. But he did a great performance because he was like, I think I read somewhere like people think he's like a prophet or something because like when that scene happened at the very end, he's like, oh, this always happens, or like something like this always happens. So they think, oh, he did this. But I don't know. I guess he was a. What would he be in the film? What is he saying? Is he saying like how we treat children in the days? Like they just laugh at us because he gave the whole monologue about how like this is not fair. You can't just laugh at us and make us look like to dance.
Sure.
We're human beings too. Maybe he's trying to humanize like kids too, because like they think kids are just like cute and innocent and they don't know anything. And
perhaps it's also symbolic of intelligence at any age. I mean, realistically, I feel like a lot of people in America, we don't really respond to intellect so much as we do rhetoric. You can see that in our politics, for instance, our advertising. And all I mean to say is that he is someone who's become an outcast because he's so intelligent, especially for his age. He doesn't really have peers that are on his level. He's answering every question on the game show. He's the one that has to go up for the lightning round or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while he's the one making everyone the money, he gets none of the regard, none of the respect.
Because like he just needs to go to the bathroom once, and they're just like, no, you can't use the bathroom. I'm like, he's got to go, or else he's gonna pee his pants.
Meanwhile, his father, who's his caretaker, who's supposed to be that all-important parental figure, is the one telling him, shut the fuck up. You're gonna play this game. You're winning us money. You're gonna break this record.
Yeah.
And as for the actor Jeremy Blackman, I thought he was great. Typically, I'm creeped out by kids with that kind of haircut.
Yeah.
But I could get over it. He was that good as a child actor.
Yeah, and then he goes back to after the game show. He goes back to the library, and he finds his happy place because he just wants more knowledge, I guess. And when he gets home, he's like, "You gotta treat me nicer." And I don't know if the dad agrees with that, but I guess he's just
I don't think he does, but he's
Yeah, maybe it does, but maybe it doesn't. Like that's the thing. Like I think that's what Paul Thomas does in this movie. Is like not everything's gonna be changed. I think that's what happened in Boogie Nights because he said like none of these characters really changed. Maybe that's also true in these movies, and we don't know how Melinda Dillon and her daughter are gonna be after all this happened. I mean, she still has the trauma of being molested by her father. Her father's now dead, so they had to deal with that also. And
sure,
yeah,
sure,
yeah. So okay, let's go to let's go to Malola Walters' character and Melinda Dillon.
Claudia.
Let's go with Philip Baker Hall. Let's go with him. So Philip Baker Hall is a legend of industry in this movie. He's like the host of Jeopardy.
Chuck Woolery. No, Alex Trebek.
Yeah. Alex Trebek. So he's probably like a local legend, and he's like this head of the higher standards. And then you find out he's dying. And he just followed this man who was this like great mountain of industry. He just falters because he's weak. He's weak. He can't do it anymore, but he keeps on trying to do it. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to get back with his daughter, but I don't know. You see that scene because you're like, why does he hate her so much? And then he just realized you realize oh, he molested her, and then it all makes sense. And you see this man because he's dying and he's trying to make it right because he said he doesn't know if he did it or not, which is hard to realize, like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, either you know or you don't know.
He's repressed it.
He's repressed it, maybe, yeah. But we also do that, too, with our own trauma. Like, I know there's probably moments I've done that I blocked out, and I don't remember if I did it or not. And maybe he's done it with, too. But do I sympathize with this man? Like, after that happened, it's like, oh, God.
No, I don't at the end of it, frankly.
You don't. And I was kind of happy when it happened. Like, when he got killed. When the events happened, and he was burned alive in a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was going to kill himself. Because he realized all the things he done. But I guess whoever did the event... Nature intervened and they said, you're not going to take this out. You're not going to do this on your own terms. You're going to die on my terms. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened.
And everyone knows burning to death is a lot of fun.
Yeah, true. So Melinda Dillon, and then... Let's go with Melanie Walters' character. Because he's a drug addict who's... Mm-hmm. I guess
Claudia,
she's not trying to get better. She doesn't really try to get better throughout the movie. She just does a lot of coke, listens to a lot of Amy Mann, which we'll get to later, and it's like trying to process this trauma.
Right,
and the way she does that is this coke, and this
Yeah.
constant coke, and is trying to deal with it. And she goes on a date with the officer, played by John C. Reilly, and actually, this is a great note. Like in the one of the scenes where she's like, when she says, "Now that I met you, would you object to never seeing each other again?"
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lyric of a Amy Mann song. Because he knows, like, this guy's an officer, he's so straight-laced. And we see that throughout the movie, John C. Reilly. He's very straight-laced, he's very boring, he's just like, he doesn't want to deal with the kid who's rapping, and so he tells him to go away. And if he finds out she's a cokehead, I think he kept on saying, like, I would never judge you, but I think he would.
See, I don't know if he fully would. I think he'd insist that she got help, which is where the movie seems to trend.
Yeah.
But that aside, I thought Melora Walters was great here. And the first thing you see her do is trade a stranger sex for drugs. You know what I mean? And yes, that is how she copes. And we don't know exactly what's going on in her head for the majority of this movie. And then she's playing Amy Mann. Is that her name? Amy Mann?
Yeah.
Playing it ridiculously loud when Officer Jim comes in. And I was caught off guard when he asked her for a date. I didn't really see that happening, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I think really she is that symbol of, or not symbol, but she is obviously, is it fair to say, the most outwardly traumatized in this, or at least shows it the most? Yeah, she's got a terrible, terrible drug addiction. She's on their date even, she's going to the bathroom, to freshen up or whatever. And then she tries to get rid of him because she's afraid of how he'll perceive her once he gets to know her better. But I feel like you can't talk about one without talking about the other. Officer Jim, he is that straight-laced innocence. I think he's really the symbol, though, of a fresh start. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got traumas, but everybody can get over that. Given the right circumstances, not getting over, but we can learn to cope and find new influences, perhaps, that can put us in a better spot to recover. Mm-hmm. And I think that is symbolized by the end of this movie, the last shot.
Yeah.
And I hope that's what it is, too, because I really wanted to see her happy again, especially after you find out why she's so embittered toward her dad and...
miserable. And,
right.
Yeah.
But Melora Walters, great. I'm not going to say anyone in this cast was bad, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I'm just not.
Let's go to William H. Macy, then.
William H. Macy, okay.
What's his name?
Donnie Smith. He was
Donnie
the
Smith.
Former quiz kid. Essentially the Stanley, the young child prodigy now of the past.
We can see what happens if you don't deal with your trauma. And
exactly.
Yeah. Because he's kind of like the that character. Like he's the clown of the cast. Like he's like
comic relief?
Comic relief, yeah.
Sure.
Because he got struck by lightning, and then he said that's how he got stupid.
Yeah.
And then he led him on this path of just trying to... Which is really weird. Like, would you... I think of, like, celebrities now who are on game shows and stuff like that. Like the guys who win, like, Jeopardy all the time. And I can see why. But would people remember a really smart kid from the 60s?
Probably not.
Yeah. Like, I use your stardom to... Like, you use my stardom.
Right.
You can't do that. Like...
No, that was a bit of a stretch. But honestly, you gotta just... You have to just abandon some logic with this movie.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I will say he was the one character that I was probably least interested in at the beginning. I knew why he was there, to show what happens, because all his parents took all of his prize money, and now that he has gone dumb, quote unquote, he can't hold down a job. And he's also like trying to win the affection of a local bartender by getting braces on his already perfect
I don't know.
It's a weird
How
hang-up.
William was out about that. He was just like, why do you need braces?
Yeah, and that was a funny scene.
Even if you tell him the reason, you're going to be like, that's not a good reason. And he knows that, too, after he goes to the bar. And then the man who played the Nazi in Blues Brothers, who's also trying to get the attention of the bartender.
Yeah, that was him, yeah.
Yeah, he seems to be a competition, and he kept on drinking because maybe he realizes that he can't contend with this man. This man he's smarter, he's more suave than he is.
Got the money.
Got the money, and he doesn't have the money.
Right.
So, yeah. But then when he robs the place, he realizes, like, what have I done? And he tries to go back to fix it. But then the event happens, and then John C. Reilly just catches him. And then I thought John C. Reilly was going to arrest him.
Right.
He's like, but he's not. He's going to try to help him.
There's a great monologue, too, at that one point where he says, part of my job is distinguishing between those who have done wrong and need to be punished and those who have learned from it and, you can kind of let off, I suppose. But I like this character. At first, I wasn't sure if all of his scenes were totally necessary. But it's always a pleasure to see William H. Macy, and yeah, obviously he serves as the example of what will happen to Stanley if his parents keep treating him the way that, or his dad keeps treating him the way he has been.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
I don't. I mean, he was necessary. I think he's gonna show he shows the downfall of fame, the downfall of what happens. So that's necessary, and kind of relates to the Jeremy Blackman character. It's what happens if you. If you continue on this path, what's going to happen to your father? He's going to take all your money, and you'll be left with nothing. Because people are going to see you as a special star, but then once that special star falls, you have nothing, and then you got to rely on what you were before.
Yeah, that's a great assessment, actually. All right, how about...
I would say, though, I do love mostly all the scenes. When he finally confesses to love that bartender, he just breaks down and just pops in the bathroom.
Yeah, that was good. He's clearly intoxicated at that point.
Yeah, I think that's most... Oh, you should go to Julianne Moore's character.
I was going to say...
We never really talked about her that much.
I know, and there's so much to talk about.
I know.
This
I thought she should have been nominated for at least a supporting actress role. She was so good, because she was just she just broke down what she was. She was just I married this man for his money, and then when he was dying, I loved him. I learned to love him, and then she just has major regrets, and it's just just killing her, and she wants some way to... I think that represents a way to, you know how in The Fisher King, he was I just want to just turn a switch or do something to give forgiveness. And that's her character. She's just trying to do something to make her forgive herself for doing these terrible things to the man she learned to love.
Yeah.
And then she goes to Michael Murphy's lawyers, change the will. I don't want to be in this will. I'm a terrible person. I cheated on her multiple times. And then she realized, I guess in her mind, the only way to get forgiveness for her atone for her sins, is to kill herself with pills.
Which she survives. She does survive.
So she has to deal with it. That's the thing. Sometimes you can't escape it. Sometimes fate just says you're going to live and you're just going to have to deal with it.
But she'll be stronger from it, I think.
Yeah, she'll be stronger from it. And then at the very end, when Tom Cruise goes to see her in the hospital, maybe they'll form a relationship. Maybe they'll bond over Jason Robards' character. Big O. They bond over him. In some weird way.
Yeah, I think that's essentially the optimist's viewpoint of the end, and I kind of hope that that's what happens. What I will say real quick, a great thing about this movie, it takes place over one day, correct?
Yes, in 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, and they're all close to each other, so it makes sense about the ending.
All of these characters, though, have incredibly intricate story arcs. Or not story arcs, character development, character arcs rather. They change. They are dynamic characters, and the funny thing is, we don't even see them prior to this day that the movie is set. But you can tell just through the exposition and through the way characters converse with one another that they have changed. And Julianne Moore's character is a great example of that. You can kind of see that she, you kind of get the sense that she is a trophy wife, right? She's obviously decades younger than her husband. But right from the rip, you see that she is struggling with his death. And you don't know why until she sees that lawyer. And then it all comes together.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously Julianne Moore is incredible.
Yeah, but that's the thing also. That's what Paul Thomas Anderson does. You don't know if these people will change. Maybe Donnie Smith will change. Maybe he'll find the right path, and maybe the officer will help him, or maybe he won't. Maybe Melinda Dillon and her daughter can't coexist. It was just too much trauma. We don't know, but at least we know that there's a possibility that they could change,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we don't know if Tom Cruise is going to change. Maybe he'll just be the same guy again. He'll still be the same alpha male.
It's clearly making him money.
Yeah, dick who's just going to keep on doing it. And maybe he actually does believe it. I said that he doesn't believe that, but maybe he does believe that. Maybe that's why he is. So we can't expect him to change just out of the back. That's not happening to people. People just don't change out of the blue. It takes time for change.
Right.
It takes time to learn and things like that. So we talk about the event. I think we've been recording for half an hour. Let's talk about the event. Okay, so the major event that happens that kind of brings everybody together is frogs fall out the sky. That's what happens. Frogs. Like in the Bible.
I jumped. I was laying in bed watching this movie, and I physically, my whole body just jumped when that first one hit his car. It is so loud and so unexpected. And I see him on his windshield, and I see the one breathing, and I said, those are motherfucking frogs. What is going on? And then all of a sudden, I figured maybe someone was throwing them off a rooftop or something, like a teenager prank or something.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, even though I kind of expected it. But I was like, is it really? Because I thought I knew the ending of Memento, but I didn't. I was like, is this really going to happen? And then I knew it was going to happen, and I was still surprised. I'm like, frogs fell from the fucking sky. Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know how I feel about that. Because I watched it, I'm like, what does it mean? Like, is it supposed to have a purpose, these huge endings? That's what, like, the girl who got shot in the end of Nashville, does that mean anything? Does that bring everybody together? Like,
I think that's the whole point, though. Sometimes life doesn't... It's senseless.
Yeah, and that's why it kind of brought up in, like, the whole beginning of the movie with all the coincidences of the man getting murdered by, is it, like, Baker, Barry, Green?
Hill or something?
Yeah, Barry, Hill, Green. He got murdered by those three men, and that was the name of his pharmacy.
Right.
And then you got Patton Oswalt character who loved scuba diving but died because a plane picked him up while trying to fend off a forest fire, and he got dumped by a water plane. What was the third one? The third one was... What was the third one? I know this too. Dang, I've been over it. The third one was... Oh yeah, the boy who committed suicide but actually was murdered by his...
Oh, by his mom. He was the one that loaded the gun.
And then
so he was an accomplice in his own murder.
Yeah.
Yes.
This weird things happen. You can't really explain it. Mm-hmm. And Paul Thomas Anderson didn't say, "Oh, God made this happen." They just fell out of the sky. Who knows? Maybe a plane carrying fucking thousands of frogs. That accidentally let go of the cargo, and millions of frogs just went down on the San Fernando Valley area. Yeah. So yeah, because it kind of makes sense because like they're all in the same area. They're all in the San Fernando Valley, and it's just like. But then you realize like how far is this plane going? They're just dropping fucking frogs everywhere.
And we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of frogs falling. It's a full storm of frogs. And let me tell you, I wouldn't change this ending for anything. Mm. It is nonsensical. But that's the point, though. I think that is the point. Sometimes these coincidences, like the ones he shows in the beginning, that's what they are. They're nonsensical. They're just nonsensical. And this one is kind of an example of you think that everything's going to coincide and be this, big, massive coming together of all these characters, and it's stopped by that storm of frogs, kind of. Some of the characters do get together. Poor Donnie actually breaks his teeth.
He breaks his teeth.
When so he does hits him and falls him, or it makes him fall off the ladder.
Yeah, so he does need braces. Philip Baker's Hall character dies. He tries to kill himself, but the frogs got to him. Yeah. Before he could shoot himself, and then he missed, and then I guess the bullet like hit some wires or something, and then
started a fire,
and he's now probably dead. We don't know the answers.
Claudia's mother, Rose, gets to her house just in time, and they take shelter, and hopefully
Tom Cruise. I don't think Tom Cruise is that million that's affected by the fog. Is this a weird thing that happens? It's just like
I don't think we see what happens. Well, he was just in the house with.
He was in the house with Big O, and they were just having this moment because, Tom Cruise is not going to forgive his father. He's going to say all the things he wanted to say to him, and I guess that maybe that's what Big O wanted. He just wanted his son to have some kind of closure for all the years he didn't have to. He wasn't with him.
I think you're right about that, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, but to me, the scene of the frogs is finally like I don't know if it still makes sense to me.
That is a phenomenon that has happened.
It has happened?
Oh yeah.
Really? Frogs just fly out of the sky?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I know this isn't great for a podcast, but Reign of Animals. Look it up on Wikipedia because, it's the foremost purveyor of knowledge.
Yeah.
No, it is a thing, and it's a phenomenon that scientists are confused by because typically it carries only one species of animal. So it's very bizarre.
So just like random animals just fall out of the sky sometimes?
Oh, yeah. And part of... I read this also on Wikipedia, so it's definitely verified. During the casting procedures, when speaking with Philip Baker Hall, Paul Thomas Anderson got to that part of the story and said, this is going to happen. And Philip Baker Hall told him about a time he was traveling through... He was traveling outside of the country, and they got hit with a bad snowstorm, but in that snowstorm was also a bunch of little frogs. So it can happen.
Wow.
Some people theorize that it's tornadoes from the water, and they are in California, so they are near a great big body of water. It's a weird phenomenon. I apologize. I meant to read up more on it. But it is something that has happened.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't know if in that magnitude.
That can explain that a little bit, but Is this so off? Like, because maybe Paul Thomas Anderson is like commenting on this because he realizes like maybe he realized like yeah, all these movies is like a bunch of interesting characters and like there's a big event happens and that's it. And then he realized like I can just make the big event anything and it could work. And it kind of did, kind of not, but maybe that's what Paul Thomas Anderson wanted. Like he says, for better or worse, this is his best movie. And
I love that quote too. I read that as well.
Because like, I think I'm in the majority that I don't know what to feel about it. Like, because like some reviewers like point out that and like when they all sing the song, but I actually found out like that there's a reason why they all sing that song. It kind of relates to each one of the characters. So yeah, but. I don't know. I wouldn't take it out either, because, like, what are you going to do? You're just going to have this moment where they all get together and kumbaya, my lord? Like, that's bullshit. That's not real.
Would it really have been better if it was a giant, dangerous hailstorm? I mean, obviously, California doesn't get those, I'm sure, but or a tornado or a hurricane or whatever. Would it really have been better? I like it, because it leaves it... It's not, like, a necessarily biblical thing, but some people will see
even
it that
though
way.
The Bible reference is mentioned a lot in this movie.
Sure.
Yeah, Exodus 8:2. But if you refuse to let me go, behold, I will plague all your country with frogs.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of what does that have to do with this movie. If you refuse to let me go, so is that refusing to let go of your loved ones or let go of your troubles also? And if they don't do that, then frogs will rain from the sky, and it fucking did. Now, what is the metaphor of this in the Bible? Like, what does this mean in the Bible? Because this didn't really happen. So like. Is it like if you don't let go of your past or your traumas, that then bad things will happen?
Possible. That's the great thing about it. Is it once again challenges its audience, and that's really what a great filmmaker will do. Like, did it need to be that? No, absolutely not. It didn't. But I love that it is because it'll get people talking, and it'll get them thinking. More importantly, and I feel like. All of these movies that we've seen of his do get people to think about them.
That's true.
You can easily, if you're a simple, less nuanced, I guess, moviegoer, you could look at his movies and think, take them just at surface value. But I don't think that you're meant to for these. I think you are meant to discard logic, especially when it comes to this ending. And you're just supposed to think about what the frogs did to the characters, how it affected the characters. It gave Philip Baker Hall more the death that he deserved, frankly. It gave Claudia and her mom a chance to reconnect and kind of like, it's easy for a parent to berate a child's behavior when they're standing mightier than thou. But in this instance, my God, they're terrified. And that helps bring people together. It brought Officer Jim and Donnie together and formed an understanding there where like, yeah, you were breaking the law, but you were also trying to make up for what you had just done. Let me let you off with a warning. Long story short, it doesn't have to make sense, I don't think. And for God's sake, I'll never forget the end of this movie.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well,
it was long-winded.
That was long-winded. Yeah, it's fine, but it was great.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was great. Okay, so that was the movie. I guess we should go on to my fun facts now.
Yeah, I gotta catch my breath.
True, yes. And you still gotta use the bathroom.
Yeah. Is it commercial break yet?
No.
Oh, fuck.
So, prepare to hold it, okay? You're my bitch boy, TJ, okay?
You're gonna see a puddle when I get up.
Good, you're gonna clean it up, okay? That's the way it's gonna go. Anyway, let's end this talk about
Give us the trivia, damn it.
Oh, yeah, the trivia, damn it. Fuck, I forgot about that. Okay, the fun facts about this movie. Paul Thomas Anderson approached George C. Scott to play the role of Partridge in this film. But Scott threw the script across the room saying, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever read. The language is terrible. So, George C. Scott, very picky. Picky man.
Didn't like the swears?
No. Exactly. Almost every location contains a picture of at least one Magnolia painting, painted by Fiona Apple. Telephone number 877-TAME-HER is shown on the Seduce and Destroy infomercial within the movie. If you call that number, you get a recording of Tom Cruise giving the Seduce and Destroy pitch.
Nice.
They whisper still a thing, but my guess is probably dead by now.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
so sad. Exodus 8:2 is alluded throughout the film through billboards and many other images and stuff like that, and even rings and messages that we probably missed. But of course, we said it. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will plague all your country with frogs, which I believe what Moses said to the king of Egypt. Yes.
That makes some more sense.
If I remember that Rugrats episode, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Each line in the Wise Up scene is a reference to the character's scene is going through. Claudia is seen because of her cocaine addiction. It's not what you thought when you first began it. Jimmy sings about his cancer. You sure there's a cure and you finally found it. Donnie is about his drinking. You think one drink will shrink you to your underground living down. And Linda, about her dying husband's will. Prepare this for what you need before you sign away the deed. Every time you see Donnie in his car, the same song is playing on the radio, which I was also very curious about. I'm like, what is that song playing?
Yeah.
It's Dreams by the artist Gabriel. The word fuck is used 190 times, which is amazing.
Gotta love swears.
We need more swearing.
Fuck Jeremy.
Yeah, fuck Jeremy. And in kids shows too. Just see what Europe does. Just like have swears in like adult shows and kids shows. Just tell them don't.
They're words.
Yeah, the words. Who cares? Anyway, that goes on to my diatribe when I went from there. The title Magnolia not only refers to Magnolia Boulevard in LA, where most of the movie takes place, but also is similar to the term Charles Fort, who is referenced in this movie many times, coined for a hypothetical region where things that fall from the sky come from. Magnolia. I said that totally wrong. It's Magonia.
Magonia?
Magonia. You probably said it right. And Amy Mann's music, of course, inspired Paul Thomas Anderson to write this script, and at least one lyric from songs of Amy Mann are lifted and used as dialogue. For example, in Deathly, where the song Deathly, the lyrics, "Now that I've met you, would you object to never seeing each other again?" is used in the film by Magnolia Walters. I finally got it.
Yay! Personal growth.
Yes, by Magnolia Walters' character when they kiss. And then he separates. So that's all the fun facts about that. Top 10 films of 1999. Even though it was released in December 1999, but I guess Box Office Mojo counts as a 2000 film because it was released in 2000.
Oh, okay.
So, but 1999 top 10 films are Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, your favorite movie. The Sixth Sense, number 2. Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. 4, Toy Story 2. 5, The Matrix. 6, Tarzan, which I saw in the theaters, which I don't know if I could get kicked out of because of it. I remember I went to a Pizza Hut, and they had a promotion for it, and I got the promotion, and then I went to see the movie. That's all I remember. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I went to one of the Pizza Huts at the restaurant, too. Not just yeah.
Do those exist anymore?
No, the last one closed down, and it's now going to be a Mexican restaurant near our house. So, yes, 7 was Big Daddy, Adam Sandler vehicle. 8 was The Mummy, not The Mummy from 2013 or whatever that movie was released. Number 9, Runaway Bride, one of the many Juliette Robert romantic comedies. And 10 was The Blair Witch Project.
Some solid pictures there.
Yeah, some solid, some not so solid.
Correct.
In 2000, out of 200 films in Box Office Mojo, this was ranked 99. This had a box office of $48.5 million worldwide, and budget was $37 million. So a minor hit, but not really that much. Academy Awards, only 3 nominations mostly. Best Actor in Supporting Role, Tom Cruise, lost to Michael Caine in Cider House Rules. Can you say Michael Caine in Michael Caine voice, TJ?
Michael Caine.
Yes. I'm Michael Caine. And I was in the side. No, that sounds like Morgan Freeman now. I can't do it. Best Written Original Screenplay, P.T. Anderson. Lost to Alan Ball for American Beauty. Best Music Original Song, Amy Mann, Save Me. Lost to You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan, written by Phil Collins. So yeah, she even knew
That's
that.
a heavy hitter, right?
Yeah, I listened to a podcast with Amy Mann saying I know it's she knew she was not gonna win. She was in a room full of people she would not be in a room with. It was just really weird for her. Yeah, but it was not nominated for Best Picture. So that's kind of a shame. That's kind of a shock. I think that was the American Beauty's year. But Side House Rules was nominated. The Green Mile was nominated. Very, very Oscar baity movies were nominated, I think. Even though I don't really know I have a good definition of Oscar baity movies, but when I think Oscar bait, I think kind of those movies.
The Green Mile's a good movie, but this is transcendent.
Yeah. Maybe didn't make the cut. I don't know. I don't know Oscar rules. This was released in 1999 in December. Maybe there's a certain point. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. So Ebert gave it 4 stars, and unfortunately Siskel died in 1999, so we could not get a review of this. But Joel Siegel, who replaced Siskel, said it was one of the worst movies in 1999. He said it was good for 2 hours, then it felt uneven after the singing and the frogs. which I can kind of understand, but I just feel like the whole movie just gives its own emotional weight to it that doesn't even matter.
It just seems so simple-minded. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we have the advantage of hindsight and seeing how movies have evolved and storytelling, I guess, because I think it's fair to say indie movies have more exposure now than they did. Not indie, but auteurs.
Auteur?
In the mainstream, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give my final thoughts. Our final thoughts, not thoughts. Whatever the fuck I just said.
Thoughts.
Thoughts, yes. Our final thoughts, that's it. That's the new title.
That's
the new title. That's it. Final thoughts. It's going to have no sense, but that's going to be it. Okay, so Magnolia, would I recommend this movie? Fuck yes. And it's 190 fuck yeses. So I would watch this movie. This movie is an experience. Like we always say, these movies are experiences. We said this to these whole 6 movies, and I say it's true. It may sound stupid to us. Like if you're hearing this, you're saying, "Oh, they're saying it's an experience again." It is a fucking experience, and I was just, you go watch this movie. I don't care if it's 3 hours long. I don't care about screw time length, screw subtitles, screw all that. I don't care about it anymore. If your movie's great and it makes me feel something the way I did while watching this movie, I would watch it. So I'll give this 4 out of 4 stars. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'll join you in the 4 out of 4 stars. This is a 3-hour movie, and it feels like it, but you will not be disappointed by that, I don't think. Never have I seen a movie that has basically no stakes. There's no real dramatic anything that's on the line, I suppose. I've never seen a movie with no stakes be so tense and so whiplash speed.
Yeah.
Things come at you real quick.
Yeah, this is the fastest movie I've ever seen.
It certainly is.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Boogie Nights, but Boogie Nights wasn't half as fast as this one.
No, not at all. There are so many things that happen in this movie that go unattended to later on, but that's the point. That's in life, you don't always get to see how things end, or like that murder in the beginning that the officer sees. You never find out what comes of that.
That was played by Orlando Brown too, the guy who took his gun.
Oh, yep.
That was Orlando Brown.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you don't get closure on everything, but that's not the point. Watch this movie. It will talk to you in some way. You will find some way to relate to this movie. 4 stars, yeah. I've blathered on enough.
Go watch this movie, definitely. Okay, time for my Red Buttons MVP. Now, I thought, is this movie so hard to choose from? Because, I said, what should be the Red Buttons MVP? I gave it to major characters before I gave it to minor characters. I gave it to a restaurant one time. Because of Porky's.
That's right.
What should it be? So what is Red Button? Red Button's, in the movie we watched, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? He's a minor character who gave a big impression during the film. And maybe that should be what the award should be, or maybe it should be about anything I fucking want. Who cares?
Maybe whatever you want.
Yes, but I thought this over. I joked I should give it to Patton Oswalt because of the beginning of the movie. But I think it should go to Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think he was the best minor character in this movie. I think he was the heart and soul of this movie because he's trying to do a noble thing here. He's trying to give a dying man his last wish, and his last wish is to meet his son. And he's trying. Because when I thought he was ordering porn, I thought he was just, what is this guy doing? But no, he's actually trying to find his son.
Right.
So, yeah.
He's kind of the glue between those characters in that storyline, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Between Julianne Moore and Big Earl and Frank eventually. Yeah. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, so Philip Seymour Hoffman is my Red Buttons MVP of this movie.
He's terrific.
Okay, so that's Magnolia.
And
those are all the 6 movies we've done. So, Tita, what is it time for?
It's time for our rankings, Mo.
Thank you. Okay, so you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll go first, and I'm sick to my stomach. First of all, we did a poor job as podcast hosts choosing movies that were of such a high caliber. I think that it's only fair to pick some that are more that obviously we've never seen them, so it's not fair to assume that we'll like them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I liked all 6 of these movies. And I feel bad for recommending all 6 because average peons don't have the time, especially Jeremy, to go sit and watch these 6 movies.
Yeah, but we're going to be kings of the universe soon once we watch all the movies ever made. So
that's true. Yeah, that is true. So, okay. I had a hell of a time ranking most of these. But I didn't have a hell of a time ranking number 6. I put Time Bandits at number 6.
Yeah. You want to go in order? I say one, you say one?
I can do that.
I also took Time Bandits at 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Time Bandits. I thought, though, of the 6 movies that we watched, it was the least taut. It could have been cut by 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was fun, but I think that it had the least amount of impact on me.
Yeah, I think Terry Gilliam wasn't his full Terry Gilliam yet.
Sure.
So he didn't really have the budget to do what he wanted to do a lot of times, I'm guessing. I mean, it's only like, what? I think it was like $5 million he had the budget to do, or something like $9 million.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, but it wasn't like full, like, it wasn't like Fisher King or The Adventures of Man Munchausen. It wasn't like that. So,
Correct.
yeah, I would put Time Man's still a good film, but out of these 6 films, this would be 6, yeah.
Yep, agreed. I feel like it kind of felt like the perfect bridge, though, between Monty Python and Terry Gilliam as the somewhat auteur. All right, number 5, I had Licorice Pizza.
Same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Yes. Yes.
No,
we won before?
I hate you.
Okay.
But no, Licorice Pizza. This one, see, the rest of these were the hard ones to rank.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza was a damn good movie, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Something had to take the 5th place. It was a lot of fun to watch, but again, I think the other movies just had more of an impact on me.
Yeah, me too. I don't think the same emotion. I don't think I had the same emotional impact I had while watching Magnolia.
I didn't relate as much.
Yeah, I didn't relate as much. Some of it was really awkward, like the Chinese. We didn't really talk about the guy who's like Michael Higgins, who was trying to speak Chinese to his wife, but doing it in a really racist accent.
So stupid.
So stupid. Yeah, but I think that's the weakest of the acting during these Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Even though it's still good acting, I think.
No, it's damn good.
Yeah, I think like there were better performances in Boogie Nights and Magnolia, I think, compared to
Unquestionably,
Pizza.
yeah. All right, number 4, I had The Fisher King.
Same.
Oh my God.
We did not like do this together. If 3 and 2 are the same, it's gonna be insane. Yeah, The Fisher King was definitely like. I don't know. I didn't really.
It was really fucking good.
It was really
There's
fucking
no
good.
knock against The
There's
Fisher
no knock
King.
against Fisher King. It's just like. This is just based going off emotions and when I watch it again, kind of like emotionally, Fisher King was great. There was no pull to it. It was just all in your face, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using buzzwords right now because I kind of want to think what the emotions I was during that time. But I would say out of these 6 movies, this is the 4th movie.
It just is.
It just
is, and that's the thing. Like we're trying to come up with we're basically making word soup here.
Yeah.
Trying to justify this. There's no reason to. Fisher King. It's number 4. Terrific picture. Go see it.
Yeah.
Number 3. Now this is where it gets real dicey, and I've changed it multiple times throughout the show. Number 3, I put Boogie Nights.
I put Magnolia.
Magnolia? Okay. I was switching between those two, to be honest with you.
Okay, so Magnolia, like I would watch both Boogie Nights and Magnolia, but I think my emotions doing it, like I wasn't really having, like it wasn't, like fun is not really a word, well, like I was enjoying the movie, but more fun, I think Boogie Nights was more fun than Magnolia. Like I would say like if I was I am a regular person, so if I would choose between one movie, like I would always choose Boogie Nights over Magnolia, because Magnolia is a great film. I would definitely watch it again. But also, it's 3 hours long, even though Boogie Nights is 2:40. But I feel like Boogie Nights is more fun, has better characters maybe, and you don't really feel the same way about the characters. But I think I don't know. It's just tough.
They're just different characters.
It's
you
different.
still feel the same way for them in a way. You despise. There are fewer despisable characters, if you will, in Boogie Nights. And you're right. And that was the mistake I almost made. I kept flip-flopping the rankings, by the way, of those two. I kept thinking, Boogie Nights was so much more fun. And it is for the first half of it.
Yeah.
But the second half is still heavy. It's very heavy.
Definitely. But I feel like Magnolia was all heavy. There's not really a lot of
and there's truth.
Pulls.
That's absolutely
true. I'm using that word right. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. It comes down to what kind of tone you like better. And in my mind, I mean, Magnolia was almost like Memento.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a suspense thriller without any of the actual thriller or stakes elements. Again, it doesn't matter. None of these rankings mean anything. We're all gonna die one day.
Yeah.
But Boogie Nights, phenomenal movie. I probably would watch it again, and I was able to relate to these characters that I otherwise wouldn't have. Obviously with Dirk Diggler, I can relate because I too have a gigantic heart.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, gigantic heart.
Mm-hmm. And a penis.
Good for you.
Oh, thank
you.
I
don't know.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't matter. I'll just go ahead. Any final thoughts on that?
No, I think that's the best you could. You summed up my Ghibli gook, and that's the best. Yeah.
So 2, I have Magnolia. It might be recency bias.
2, I have Boogie Nights.
You have Boogie Nights. That's what I figured. Mm-hmm. I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, we basically said it while doing that.
And number 1, we are best friends.
Yes, The Adventures of Van Munchausen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie took me by such surprise.
It was just such... I'm going to say brilliance, but I feel like this is like hack. This is like hacks say, like, oh, it's brilliant, it's amazing. Like, it's this simple buzzwords that people use. But it just made me feel adventurous. And I love feeling adventurous. This is what movies should be. This is what movies should make you feel every time you watch them.
Sure.
And these movies did do that, but Baron Munchausen did it the best.
I agree. And it's some of the best practical effects you'll ever see. Like, the most fun, anyway. The most whimsical.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I think that was everything that I wanted to see in a, fantasy comedy timepiece Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah.
I can't say much more about it. Very, very high on Baron Munchausen.
Yeah. These were tough movies.
Fuck yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just talking through this is like...
In retrospect, this is why you do need a Porky's or a Captain America 1990 in the
mix.
mix.
But we're going to watch films that even are good, are considered good, but maybe we don't like. I'll put a French film that we never heard of that is critically acclaimed, and maybe we don't like it. Maybe I'll put on that 3 hours, 30-minute movie about just a French woman in a small room.
You know what our problem is, though? And I'm just going to humble brag about both of us here. We're too open-minded for our own good. I will force myself to try any food, sit through an episode of any TV show if somebody tells me there's merit to it, and I will try to find something of merit in it. That said, Porky sucked.
Yeah, Porky did suck.
Fuck Porky.
Yeah, that was awful.
And Jeremy.
That was terrible. That was just boring and weird.
Weird, bad movie.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so those are our rankings. So that does it for us today. I'll try to...
I need a nap.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to be... I may have to cut like a lot out because we rambled through most of it. But... so that was Magnolia. Those were the 6 movies we've done. And next week we'll be back with another 6. Well, that's the end of this episode then. We've done everything we can possibly do. So I'm Mo, and I'm the master of getting frisky.
And I'm TJ, and despite what I said at the start of this podcast, my past is through with me, and I will never get my comeuppance. Never.
Alright, that's it, everybody. See you next time, and let's have Robert Mitchum play us out.
Bye.
Bye. If you like our podcast, then please like, subscribe, follow, or whatever you have to do to listen. We're on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Anchor, and hopefully more podcast streaming services soon. Follow us on Twitter at @it_dammit, and on our Facebook page, It's Still New to Us, because Facebook hates us. Thanks for listening.